The Aransas County Sheriff's Office says the death of an inmate yesterday appears to have been due to natural causes. That inmate is identified as 66-year-old Thomas Kitchens. He was being held at the Aransas County Detention Facility in Rockport when, according to a statement from the sheriff, he became unresponsive around 8:20 Sunday morning. CPR was performed and medics arrived, but Kitchens was pronounced dead just after 9. An autopsy is pending, and Texas Rangers are investigating the death, which we're told is standard procedure. Well, there's been a mix-up on a local voting ballot for the upcoming election. Ashley Portillo explains what went wrong and why there is now a meeting happening later today.
Mike, a property tax increase for Nueces County Emergency Services District 2 was supposed to be on the early voting ballot for residents in Flower Bluff and Mustang and Padre Island, but it only showed up on the Flower Bluff ballot. It turns out a mistake was made and that issue did not appear on the other two ballots. The county clerk's office says they were just working with the information that they were given. Meanwhile, Nueces County ESD2 officials are now planning a meeting later today to figure out if they will move forward with this vote or to just put it on hold. I'll have more on this election mix-up this evening on Chris 6 News.
A proposed tax increment reinvestment zone for North Beach faces its first vote at tomorrow's City Council meeting. The North Beach TERS was originally set for an October 15th vote, but it was pulled from the agenda after some council members requested more information. At that time, a first council vote had been reset for November 12th. Last week, though, the city manager said it would have its first vote tomorrow. Well, we had some pretty cool temperatures over the weekend, but things are beginning to warm up. How long will it stay that way? Well, let's get the latest from Juan Acuna, who was at our La Palmera Mall community set this afternoon. Hey, Juan.
How's it going, Mike? That's right. We had temperatures that fell into the 40s over the weekend, over the morning, but this morning we only got to the lower 60s, and that thanks to the southeasterly winds that have been picking up across the area. We're taking a live look at our First Community Bank 6 weather bug downtown Corpus Christi. Cloud coverage has moved back into the area. We are at 84 degrees with southeasterly winds around 10 to 15. We have 80s all over the place right now, and again, some cloud coverage right along the coastline. Now, there's another frontal boundary up in North Texas. We're going to see some shower activity pick up tomorrow and on into Wednesday ahead of the next strong cold front headed our way. Will that ruin plans for trick-or-treating? I'm going to have the answers to that and a full look at the forecast coming up right after this. Mike, over to you.
All right, thank you, Juan. We do have continuing coverage now on the death of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The leader of ISIS was killed during a raid on his hideout in Syria. Richard Engel has details on how it all happened.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi called himself the ruler of an Islamic empire. But Kurdish intelligence officials tell us a spy in his inner circle helped lead U.S. commandos right to him and turn Baghdadi's hideout into a hole in the ground. 100 U.S. Special Operations Forces in 8 helicopters, backed by jets and drones, flew in for over an hour and descended on Baghdadi. President Trump watching on secure communications.
He was screaming, crying, and whimpering. And he was scared out of his mind.
As American special ops and a dog chased Baghdadi into a hidden tunnel.
Trying to escape, but it's a dead-end tunnel. And it was brutal, but it was over. And as I said, when he blew himself up, the tunnel collapsed on top of him.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi founded ISIS. At its peak, it controlled a large swath of land across Iraq and Syria. He called it the Caliphate. It sent and inspired terrorists around the world. Over the last 5 years, U.S. Special Operations Forces and allies, Syrian Kurds, destroyed the Caliphate. Baghdadi on the run. Until this weekend, when the ISIS leader was killed in a smuggling town on the Turkish border. The hunt for Baghdadi reportedly kicked into high gear this summer with the arrest and interrogation of one of his many wives. She reportedly gave information that revealed to the CIA his approximate location in northwest Syria. The Kurds were then able to put a source, a plant, a mole close to Baghdadi, a trusted informant who was passing information back to the Kurds and that they were relating to the CIA that put all the pieces together. Richard Engel, NBC News, Northern Syria.
And as you just heard there, Syria's Kurdish forces say that they did carry out a joint operation with U.S. troops after the al-Baghdadi raid. And again, they say their operation resulted in the death of his right-hand man and ISIS spokesman. Coming up on Chris 6 News, we're going to tell you about the Blue Bucket campaign that's working to make sure autistic kids get on some Halloween fun this week.
Chris 6 News at noon continues.
Hello everyone, and a very good Monday afternoon to you. We have extra cloud coverage that has moved back into the region. That's all courtesy of our southeasterly wind picking up. That northerly component that we had over the weekend, which brought us all the blue skies, has gone away for the time being right now. And the result with those southeasterly winds is this right here. As we take a live look at our Waves Resort 6 WeatherBug camera out at North Padre Island, we have some extra clouds. We're holding on to 84 degrees right now, feeling like 89. That dew point, that's the key to the forecast for us here, at least for the next 72 hours, because those numbers are going to be elevated. Humidity at 65%, and there's that southeasterly wind at 13 miles an hour. Inland sections of the coastal bend seeing a little bit more sunshine. Holding on to the coast are those high and mid-level clouds. Not a big deal, but nonetheless, they are going to stick around there. And again, we have those southeasterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, those are delivering those dew points into the 60s and 70s. And again, over the weekend, these numbers were in the 20s and 30s. So we went from very dry to dry up to muggy and oppressive. It feels like almost overnight. So as we look at the future clouds and rain, with that extra moisture coming in, tomorrow morning we could see another round of some low-level fog, especially in the low-lying areas, I should say. So use caution on the early morning commute. And again, just a couple of sprinkles here and there. Tomorrow afternoon, they're going to be pretty sparse, one or two little showers. You'll see them off in the distance, but for the most part, most of us are going to skip out. But the cloud coverage is going to continue to stay there. Hourly forecast for today takes us into the mid-80s, about 86 degrees at 4 o'clock. And if you have evening plans, going to be a warm one as those temperatures go back down into the middle 70s, again with a lot of humidity over the area. The wind's not going to be too bad the next couple of days, but they do pick up on Wednesday with a southeasterly wind 15 to 20. Then as we go into Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, again, that's Halloween. That's when our big frontal boundary arrives, and the northerly wind is going to be blowing at about 15 to 30 miles per hour. This frontal boundary up to the north, there's plenty of cold air behind it and dry air as well. So we have humid air out ahead of it, dry air that's behind that, but it's stuck for now. It doesn't have anything to push it all the way down. It's got to wait for another frontal boundary up to the north to catch up with it. But it's cold up there, 33 in Amarillo, 37 in Lubbock as we hold on to 84 here. There's the next frontal boundary that we're going to continue watching at this point, and it's cold up there as well, into the teens and 20s at this point. And so it's going to wait for this upper level low to kick right on off to the east. And then we have the second one that's going to come around. And as we go into Wednesday evening, that's going to be enough pushing to get this frontal boundary into the area, and eventually we're going to hold on to cool conditions as we head to the end of the week and on into the weekend. So there it comes again. This one stays stationary. This one's going to come late Wednesday night into early Thursday with scattered thunder showers, cooler and drier conditions. And it's also going to be pretty windy as well. So our NEC Co-op Energy 7-day forecast shows 86 today, 71, 84 tomorrow, isolated showers, scattered thunder showers, especially with the front late in the day. And we go to 51 and 60 on Halloween day. Trick-or-treating is going to be nice, but again, it's going to be cool and chilly out there with those brisk northerly winds. Mike, I'll send it over to you.
All right. Speaking of trick-or-treating, this Halloween, you might spot some trick-or-treaters carrying blue buckets. It's part of a nationwide campaign created by the mother of an autistic child. Rosalind Anderson explains.
Among the ghouls and goblins crowding your doorstep for candy could be children with autism. You'd know because they would be carrying blue buckets to haul all the good loot.
We want them to be with their peers and we want them to be included.
Carly Fridmansky is a certified behavior analyst who works with autistic children. Some may not speak but want to be included. This Halloween, children with autism will be carrying blue buckets or jack-o'-lanterns. Blue is the color of autism awareness.
The blue bucket represents the fact that, a lot of times when children are trick-or-treating, they will wait for someone to say trick or treat. Well, this represents, like, hey, this child cannot say that, and this just represents that to the parents.
The blue Halloween buckets became a symbol after one mom had to explain at each house that her child couldn't speak, but she wanted him to be a part of the fun.
The reason that she started this was to just let the children have their time at Halloween and enjoy it and not be expected to say something or do something that they can't.
The Growing Tree also works with their students on how to trick or treat, knock on doors, and put on costumes. Major achievements for children who want to be among the superheroes and creatures enjoying All Hallows Eve.
And blue pumpkins won't be the only special pumpkins out there this Halloween. A teal pumpkin displayed at a home means that the residence offers non-candy treats for those children with food allergies. Well, up next, we're going to tell you about some folks who want to help you prevent or at least manage diabetes. They'll be gathering at the mall later this week, and we'll show you what's behind it all right after this.
Can I have you say your name and count to 10?
Delia Martinez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I can hear you. Would you put that on prompter when you get a chance, please? Thank you.
Chris 6 News at noon continues.
Hey, welcome back. Coming up in November, World Diabetes Day will be recognized, and in conjunction with that, there's an event happening this Friday evening at La Palmera Mall, and here to tell us about it, Delia Martinez with Texas A&M University Coastal Bend Health Education Center. Thanks for being here, first of all. Pronounce the name of this thing happening.
This is Por Tu Salud second annual event.
Okay, Por Tu Salud. What is that?
For your health.
For your health. See, I had to rely on an expert to find that out. For your health. And that's really what you guys are doing is you're presenting resources to anybody in the community who's interested for being healthy, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is going to be at La Palmera Mall.
Yes.
What are people going to find when they come out there Friday night?
Well, when they come out Friday night, we're going to have free flu vaccine. They're going to do kidney screening, diabetes screening, and when I say diabetes screening, it's an actual A1C.
Okay.
So we can see what your blood sugars have been running in the past 3 months,
All right.
which is a great test.
And that's important for those who may not even know that they have diabetes, right?
Absolutely.
That's the kind of test you want to get.
And it's not a diagnosis, it's a simple screen, it's a little finger stick, but it really gives you great information as to where your blood sugars have been running.
Okay. In addition to that, what else is going to be happening there that night?
Well, we also have a walk. You're going to have the opportunity to walk with some of the health educators that are there. We're going to have registered nurses, registered dietitians, community health workers. So it's a walk and talk with the health educator on diabetes.
And the talk is the important part here. We're not just walking together. I mean, that's good for us, but
that's good.
I can ask questions that maybe I don't have time to ask in a doctor's office, or maybe they don't have time to let me ask sometimes.
Absolutely. So it's a time with the registered dietitian, community health worker, registered nurse, and get those questions answered. Community health worker can provide community resources and lead you in the direction for resources that you may need. And your registered nurse, certified diabetes educator, or registered dietitian can answer the more in-depth questions on diabetes.
Okay, now all this is happening at Center Court. How much does it cost me if I want to come be a part?
It's all free.
That's what I like to hear right there.
Even the flu vaccines are free.
Even the flu vaccines.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is coming up Friday night. I think it's from what, 4 to 8?
4 to 8.
Okay, and
the
then
walk
the walk is at 6 o'clock. Okay, so if people want to be a part, they just got to show up,
Just
right?
show up, absolutely.
All right, you can't get any easier than that. If you go to our website, christv.com, we've got all of that information there. Just go and look for it and see if maybe it's something that would be interesting for you and for your family.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, up next, a work trend seems to be catching on across the country. We're going to show you why casual is becoming the dress code of the day for many employees. Stay with us. Oh, I ought to put that microphone. Hey, thanks for not putting the salad full screen up there. I appreciate that.
What did it say?
That's kind of what I thought too, but apparently not. Apparently it was something in Spanish.
Chris 6 News at noon continues.
Well, remember Casual Fridays? Nowadays, it seems casual is the dress code for every day. As Chris Clackham tells us, most managers are not only okay with it, they actually encourage it.
What started out in the 50s in Hawaii as Aloha or Casual Fridays quickly morphed into relaxed office dress codes across the country. And now it's not just one day a week.
Certainly, the days of sort of suit and jacket and tie are over at most businesses.
So there's less definition around exactly what to wear on which days of the week.
Tracy Fiat's a chief executive at the employment agency Randstad US, whose recent survey on dress codes found employees willing to give up a lot just to be comfortable.
People would be willing to sacrifice up to $5,000 in salary in order to dress casually.
The survey also found some employees avoiding jobs at places that never have a casual day at work.
I think it's changed a lot. Employees have a lot more control and a lot more choice.
Management consultant and author Robert Glazer says for the right company, dress codes should be relaxed.
If you're a software firm and you want people in there coding and t-shirts and shorts and have their dogs and stuff, like that's great and that might work.
Even with a casual clothing takeover at work, 65% of those surveyed say they'd still dress up for a job interview. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
Don't believe I'm giving up $5,000 just to be able to lose the tie. Hey, stick around. We're coming back with another look at the forecast.
Chris 6 News at noon continues.
Well, we have more clouds that are moving in across the region. We're taking a live look at our 6th weather bug out in Rockport. 83 degrees, still plenty of sunshine out there and warm. As we look at the hourly forecast for this afternoon, we're heading into the middle 80s this evening, or middle 80s later this afternoon, and back into the mid 70s. Now, a lot of folks wanting to know how trick-or-treating is going to look. Here you have it, folks, on Halloween night from 6 to 10 o'clock. It'll be into the 50s, into the lower 50s. It's going to be windy as well, but that frontal boundary comes late Wednesday on an early Thursday with the round of showers and storms. Mike, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Juan. Let's do a quick recap now of some of the top stories from our first half hour. Female human remains have been found near Bob Hall Pier, the area where a New Hampshire couple was last seen over 2 weeks ago. A property tax hike for Nueces County Emergency Services District 2 was left off of the early voting ballot in Mustang and Padre Island. And Kurdish intelligence officials say that a spy planted by them led U.S. Special Forces to ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Well, for our KZTV viewers, thanks for joining us today. If you happen to be watching us on KRIS, we do hope that you will stay tuned for another half hour of news and weather. It's all coming up right after the break. Welcome back. We continue our breaking news coverage on the discovery of female human remains near Bob Hall Pier. This is live video from the scene. That area is south of the pier. It's in the dunes, and a spokesman for the Clayburgh County Sheriff's Office says it is near the same area where James and Michelle Butler's cell phone last pinged. They're the missing New Hampshire couple that hasn't been heard from since October 14th. Investigators say one big question still needs to be answered. Are the remains connected to the Butler's disappearance?
You know, we're kind of cautious to say that, again, this may not have nothing to do with it. I know there's other people that have been missing, according to the Corpus Christi Police Department. So who knows? I mean, we don't know which direction this is going to go.
Investigators believe these remains are from a female because some women's clothing was found nearby. The remains were in a shallow grave and were severely decomposed. The Clayburgh County Sheriff's Office continues searching that area for more evidence. They are being assisted by the Texas Rangers, Parks and Wildlife, and cadaver dogs from the U.S. Border Patrol. Investigators also confirmed that the missing couple's vehicle was seen crossing into Mexico at the Del Rio border crossing. Meanwhile, the Corpus Christi Police Department is also working on a missing persons case. Police are looking for 22-year-old Jessica Martinez. She was reported missing last week, and police are asking for the public's help in finding her. If you happen to know where she might be, you can call police. That number 886-2600. Jury selection began today in the capital murder trial of a man charged in 2 deadly home invasions. Ismael Castillo is accused of shooting 2 people at a home on Coleman Avenue back in March of 2018. One of the victims was 19-year-old DeAndre Mathis. He later died. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in this case. Now, Castillo is also charged with killing a couple during a home invasion on Balchuck Lane in April of last year. Christus Bond South could be getting some national recognition for its back pain treatment program. For the past 4 years, the hospital has been pursuing the Joint Commission Gold Seal accreditation. The hospital hopes to find out if they have received that accreditation next May.
This is a nationally accredited program. It's a very rare program, not even a very rare amount of spine programs in Houston and San Antonio achieve this accreditation. It's based on having extra employees, specially trained employees, all designated to the spine patient itself.
Back pain affects more than 30 million people. Up to 80% of the population experiences it at some point in their lives. Well, our temperatures could be dipping again later this week, and for most of us, keeping warm is a simple matter, but not for the city's homeless. And as Chris 6 News reporter Shelby Coppage shows us, this season it has become even more of a struggle.
Agencies like Metro Ministry serve the homeless of Corpus Christi in many ways, like food, shelter, and more. This time of year, donations of jackets and cold weather clothes help provide protection for those who may have to spend the cold nights on the street. Unfortunately, so far, they do not have any jackets to give. I'll tell you how you can help tonight here on Chris 6 News. Mike?
And before that cold front gets here, we could see some rain in the area. Why don't we get the latest from meteorologist Juan Acuna? He joins us live from our community set at La Palmera Mall. Juan?
Right you are, Mike. That's right. We're starting to see a little bit of some of that extra cloud coverage move back into the region. That's because our northerly winds are gone, and we have now picked up a south-southeasterly wind. We're taking a live look at our CCRV 6 weather bug over on I-37 in Suntide. Not raining, but definitely some extra cloud coverage as we're holding on to 84. In fact, all across the coastal bend, we're holding on to 80-degree temperatures, but just up to the north of us, there is some cold air up in the Panhandle. 33 in Amarillo, 67 up the road in San Antonio. That frontal boundary is stuck for now. We're going to have to wait till late Wednesday on into Thursday for that frontal boundary to make it here. We'll talk about when that'll arrive, our chances of some rainfall as well, and a full look at the forecast. It's all coming up in just a bit. Mike?
All right, thank you, Juan. Kurdish intelligence officials say a spy in Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's inner circle helped lead U.S. Special Forces to the leader of ISIS. Al-Baghdadi was killed this weekend during a raid at his hideout in Syria. 100 special operations forces in 8 helicopters backed by jets and drones carried out the raid. His hideout was in a smuggling town near the Turkish border. The Kurds say they planted a source close to al-Baghdadi, who then passed information back to the Kurds. They related to the CIA. Massive wildfires continue to spread across the state of California. The largest one, the Kincaid Fire, has scorched more than 50,000 acres and forced some 200,000 people out of their homes. Jennifer Bjorklund has the latest.
200,000 people started their day in cars, in hotels, or in shelters like the one behind me in this evacuation zone that is bigger than ever. Progress going the wrong way on this fire as containment dropped from 10 to 5% from yesterday to today. And to the south, thousands of people started their day running from this new fire near the Getty Center Museum in Los Angeles, which exploded in the pre-dawn hours. There are 10,000 homes and buildings in the evacuation zone.
We have our fleet of helicopters making strategic water drops to take the heat out to really protect the life and property. And we have structure protection that is taking place for firefighters that are in the homes that are being threatened to be able to save those.
California's governor declared a statewide state of emergency as fires continue to spread, and much of the state is under alerts and warnings. And blackouts for many extending into midweek to prevent new potential electrical fires. In Napa, Jennifer Bjorklund, NBC News.
Classes have been canceled at UCLA because of the wildfire raging in Los Angeles. UCLA officials say that while the fire poses no threat to the campus, many students and staff live in evacuation areas, or they could face difficulties commuting because of road closures. Coming up on Chris 6 News at noon, a Democratic member of Congress announces her resignation following allegations she had an affair with a staffer.
Chris 6 News at noon continues.
And a very good Monday afternoon to everyone. Again, we're taking a live look at our First Community Bank 6 WeatherBug downtown Corpus Christi. A little bit of some extra cloud coverage over the region. A lot different picture from what we had over the weekend, as we didn't see a cloud in the sky. And now those clouds have returned, and you can thank that south-southeasterly wind at 14 miles an hour for that. We're holding on to 84 degrees, and with that dew point into the upper 60s, a little bit of a heat index, not much, but I'm sure you feel it when you head outdoors, as it feels like 87 degrees. Cloud coverage is holding on to the coastline right now, just to the north of the coastal bend out near Port Lavaca. We are seeing a little bit of some light sprinkles, but overall most of us aren't going to see a whole lot for today. A little bit of extra cloud coverage over Live Oak County into George West and Three Rivers, but that south-southeasterly wind going to stay with us today, going at about 10 to 15, and it's just going to keep these dew points in the healthy level, already into the muggy to oppressive category, with those numbers into the 60s and 70s. As we head to tonight, though, the cloud coverage is going to continue to stay with us, so mainly cloudy for tonight, and then tomorrow we could start to see a few more sprinkles across the area on into the afternoon as well. They're going to be very spotty in nature. In fact, I wouldn't look for any rainfall. You may get one or two raindrops on the windshield, not a big deal. And then as we go into Wednesday, on into Wednesday night, ahead of our next frontal boundary, that's when we'll start to see our better chances of some rain back in the coastal bend. We are at 84 right now. By 4 o'clock, we'll top off into about 86 degrees. That'll be the afternoon high for today. And if you have plans for tonight, it is going to be mild and warm out there, as those temperatures only fall into the middle 70s. So southeasterly winds today 10 to 15, stay pretty much the same over on the Tuesday, but then on Wednesday it gets a little bit breezy out ahead of the next frontal boundary. We'll look for south-southeasterly winds 15 to 20, and then when the front comes late Wednesday on into early Thursday morning, we pick up that northerly component with those winds gusting at about 15 to 30 miles per hour. So here's a look at the big picture. We have high pressure off into the east of us at this point, so we have the clockwise flow coming in, so all the moisture coming in as well. So it's humid out ahead of this frontal boundary. Again, it's dry up into the north, and that's where we have the cooler air located. And again, look at that, those dew points are into the 20s and 30s, so that's dry to very dry as we hold on to those humid conditions for us here. And behind that front, it's pretty cold up in Amarillo. They're looking at 33 degrees, 37 in Lubbock, and 47 in San Angelo. But the bigger picture shows that it's pretty stuck right now. We need this next frontal boundary up to the north to come down, high pressure to come and push it on the way in. And look at that, it's only 13 degrees in Casper, Wyoming, 23 in Billings, Montana. So this upper level low going to move off to the east over today and into tomorrow. It's a secondary boundary that comes in that we need to actually push that secondary front into our region. And again, that's expected to arrive here on late Wednesday and on into Thursday, I should say. Here it comes right there. That next frontal boundary starts to get reinforced, and when that next front comes in, it's going to be colder and drier, windy as well, with that line of some scattered thunder showers in the vicinity. So our NEC Co-op Energy 7-day forecast shows 86 today, 84 on Tuesday, better chance of rain late Wednesday. Then it's drier and cooler as we head into the weekend. Mike, over to you.
All right, thank you for that, Juan. We'll check in with him again in just a bit. Democratic California Congresswoman Katie Hill has announced her resignation. It comes amid explosive allegations she had affairs with members of her staff. Jeff Bennett reports on the fall of this rising star.
We've done everything that we can to pass the bills.
Once seen as a rising star in the Democratic Party, Congresswoman Katie Hill now set to step down. The freshman lawmaker making the announcement in a letter that reads in part, "It is with a broken heart that today I announce my resignation from Congress. This is the hardest thing I have ever had to do, but I believe it is the best thing for my constituents, my community, and our country." It comes after the House Ethics Committee said it would look into allegations Hill had a sexual relationship with one of her congressional staffers. Hill denies the claim, but admits she did have a relationship with a female member of her campaign. Hill, who openly identifies as bisexual, called it consensual but inappropriate. This week, that relationship provided fodder for the tabloid pages when nude pictures of Hill and the campaign staffer were published online. Hill is going through a bitter divorce, and in that emotional letter to her constituents, Hill blamed who she called her abusive husband and hateful political operatives for the leak, adding, "Having private photos of personal moments weaponized against me has been an appalling invasion of my privacy." Her husband's attorney did not respond to our requests for comment. Hill also apologized to those she has hurt, writing, "I am not a perfect person and never pretended to be." Katie Hill was elected to Congress as part of the 2018 Blue Wave, flipping a district long held by Republicans and making a name for herself as vice chair of the powerful House Oversight Committee. She now has the distinction of being the first female member of Congress to resign in the Me Too era.
Fails to mention climate change.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in a statement said Hill has made a great contribution as a leader of the freshman class, but added she has acknowledged errors in judgment that made her continued service as a member untenable. Well, it began as a viral hit on social media. Now the Baby Shark song has been turned into a stage show, much to the delight of children, maybe not so much for their parents. Coming up later tonight, Inside Edition reports on civilians who are setting up stings to catch people who they believe are child predators. You can see it tonight at 6:30 on Chris 6.